Until recently, it was widely believed that only a limited number of species could reproduce through P, reproduction by a female alone. Okay, so until recently, it was widely believed that there was a very few species that could reproduce through P, which is like reproduction by just using the female, right? Like, so female, female, cool. But lately, as interest in the topic has increased, P has been found in a variety of unexpected cases, including sharks and Komodo dragons. Dun dun dun. So, okay. So now we're like, hey, people have more interest. And now we're saying that we've found this in like unexpected cases.
Mm-hmm.
So the number of species that can reproduce through P must be increasing. And so I asked myself, is this an argument or a set of facts? It's an argument. So what is our conclusion here?
The number of species that can reproduce through parthenogenesis must be increasing.
Yes. And what is our support?
All of the above, but lately, as in they've.
Yeah, we're saying, hey, we found these unexpected cases. I would say this top part is more just like background information. I mean, it's support technically, but we kind of have this background information and we're saying, yo, we've had these new cases, including sharks and Komodo. So so the number of species that can do this must be increasing. Do you agree with this argument? Like, does it have to be rock solid?
No.
I want you to think about it in this way, that think about if your worst enemy was giving you this argument, how would you rebuttal them?
Just because you're finding something now doesn't mean that it's actually increasing.
Yeah, what might be happening? We're finding it now. Is it that the Komodo dragons and the sharks all of a sudden are able to do this, or what could potentially have been the case?
Well, it just says the interest in the topic has increased, so you could have just found interest in it all of a sudden again.
Yeah, you found but there's like, I guess what I was thinking was they're assuming that the dragons and the sharks couldn't do it before, right?
Mm-hmm.
But does that have to necessarily be the case? Because you're saying we found more interest, where
Mm-hmm.
maybe like we just learned that they've always been able to do it. We just learned now that they're able to.
Because of the interest in the topic, and that's why you've gotten more. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead. Okay. So read this and tell me what kind of question it is.
Flaw.
Yes. Awesome. So go ahead and start with A.
Okay. A. Equates mere interest in a subject with real understanding of the subject.
All right. So what does that mean in your own words?
Just because you're interested in something doesn't mean you understand it.
Yes. Do we do that in our?
Oh yeah, I feel it.
We equate mere interest with real
understanding.
understanding.
In the argument? Oh, I thought you meant in everyday life.
Yeah, in everyday life, for sure.
Right now, like I think I'm interested, but I think I can understand.
Yeah.
And the argument, no. That's I thought you were like, we do that.
You know, I'll say that like, hey, it's equivalent. Having interest is the same as understanding. Like we never do that, so it doesn't happen. So we can automatically cross it off. So go ahead and start with B, or say B.
Takes for granted that because one thing follows another, the one must have been caused by the other. No, that's not correct.
Yeah, because like what would have been caused by the other? Like, can we put that in there? Like, if we can't put anything in here, we're like, because one thing follows the other. So if I were to fill this in, I'd be like, okay, interest is followed by or an increase in unexpected case followed an increase in interest, but we don't assume that one caused the other, right? We don't assume that the increased interest is what caused the increase in species. So it's not B.
No.
All right, what about C?
Takes ignorance over the occurrence of something as conclusive evidence that it did not occur.
What do you think of that one?
I don't know. Something as conclusive evidence. That did not occur.
So what does ignorance mean?
Just just not, I want to say ignorant, but just, I can't think of another word to go with to counter it.
Not knowing.
Not knowing, yeah.
So it takes not knowing of the occurrence of something. So what could be the occurrence of something in our argument?
Can you kind of like, I don't understand what you're asking a little.
Yeah. So if we were to look at our stimulus up here,
Uh-huh.
what could potentially be what the occurrence of something is referring to? So it takes ignorance of,
Oh, a parthenogenesis.
yes, in what though? In
In the sharks and the Komodo dragon.
awesome. So potential. So if I were to fill this in, takes ignorance of the occurrence of sharks and Komodo dragons having pee
Uh-huh.
as conclusive evidence that it did not occur.
But it did occur. It is occurring more. That's what I don't understand. It did not occur. They're saying it is occurring.
But we're saying that, okay, let's skip this one for a second and go on to
Okay.
D.
Overlooks a crucial difference between two situations that the argument presents as being similar.
So how I would think about this is, what potentially are the two situations that the argument presents as being similar? And if you don't know, like you can say, like, I don't think there is one.
Originally, I would have said possibly the fact that parthenogenesis was occurring earlier. Now they're finding it again, but I don't think there's anything.
Two situations that the argument presents as being, but I don't think that we're saying that those two things are similar. Like we're just saying like it happened then and now it's happening again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Like for like I can't find two situations, so
Yeah.
it can't be the answer.
Okay.
So like I think for this answer to be right, it would be like in Florida, the fish are dying because of this, and in Japan, fish are dying. So it must also be because of that thing in Florida. Like
Yes, that
we're
makes more
looking at two situations and assuming that they're similar, and we're assuming like, but we could be potentially overlooking a crucial difference between Florida and Japan, right?
Yeah.
That's what that would look like.
Okay, that makes okay.
No, you're
Okay.
no, don't feel like
I'm not stupid. I just feel
I
like
go this slow with all my students. Please know that. Like you're not like this is normal.
I've never really had to sit down and like really explain and go through this.
Oh no, and it's awkward for a lot of people, but I really force you to think and like explain
Yeah.
things to me so I make sure you're grasping it. Okay, so tell me about E.
Presumes that because research is new, it is on that basis alone better than older research. That just no.
Yeah, so that would be like assuming that because the research is new, it's better than the older research. Like we don't assume that. We don't
Yeah.
say that, oh, our new research is better than the older research. We're just trying to say, okay, so by process of elimination alone, we could get to C. But why is C correct?
It's the way it's worded that it's not clicking in my head.
This is what makes flaw questions so hard, is the wording. So it says takes ignorance of the occurrence of something. So we're going to say it takes not knowing that sharks and Komodo dragons can reproduce through pee as conclusive evidence that it did not occur previously.
Oh, okay. Now,
So here we're assuming that the number of species
oh,
increased because we're assuming that they used to not be able to do it, right?
yeah.
And so that's how I would break that one down.
They've
And that's
been doing it all along, but this is just saying the flaw on that is you're assuming it never happened before just because we're now finding out about it.